Hi everyone, my name is Gautam Gupta and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel, Universal Fundamentals. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the second house in Vedic astrology. But before I begin, I want to invite everyone to please check out my website, universal-fundamentals.com, where you can learn more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer. You can also sign up for my free monthly newsletter where you'll get my monthly predictions delivered to your email. And if you happen to find this video helpful and useful, please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button. Doing so will help me out with the YouTube algorithm, which will allow other users like you to locate this video. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure to hit that bell notification so you do not miss out on any of these similar YouTube videos that I will be uploading in the future. So with that being said, let's begin talking about the second house. So what exactly is the second house? The second house is actually one of the most important houses for determining your wealth in life. It determines your ability to save and earn money throughout life. And the placement of the second house will heavily determine your financial situation. The second house also represents your speech and the way you communicate, whether you're being polite or soft or direct and to the point. It also signifies your early childhood experiences and self-esteem. The second house also indicates your food intake and the types of food you may eat. It also represents several body parts such as your face, teeth, neck, vision in general, as well as your right eye. One very important fact about the second house is that it is also a Marka house. Marka basically means killer, and this actually has a great effect on the length of life. In some cases, it can bring a loss of life, but you really have to examine the chart very carefully in order to make that kind of an assessment. This is because the eighth house and the third house deal with the longevity of life. And because the seventh and second are 12 places from the eighth house and the third house, the second house will primarily deal with the loss of life. Now, planets in the second house will heavily determine how the descriptions I have discussed will play out throughout an individual's life. If you have Jupiter in the second house, then this tells me that you had a great deal of optimism throughout your early childhood, which really empowered your self-confidence and self-esteem. You always speak your truth and love to communicate and preach. For the most part, Jupiter in the second house is great for financial money matters. However, here's the thing you need to be careful of. Jupiter is the karka of the second house, and sometimes when the karka sits in its own house, it can have the tendency to destroy the significance of that house. This simply tells me that if you have Jupiter in the second house, do not get overly optimistic about your financial and money matters, or you start burning a hole in your pocket. Take good care of your money and learn to manage it well. Now, if you have Mercury in the second house, then this tells me that you are constantly thinking about managing your money and finances. People with Mercury in the second house tend to have great money management skills. You love to talk and communicate, and you can be very funny if you have Mercury in the second house. You can also be very persuasive with Mercury in the second house, and people listen whenever you have something to say. Now, if you have Saturn in the second house, this can sometimes give a delayed development of speech, or it can simply mean that the person takes time to think things through before speaking. In either case, Saturn in the second house can sometimes slow down your speech and way of communicating. This placement, if afflicted, can also cause a lack of money and a sense of insecurity around family while growing up. It does become important to find your sense of voice and purpose, or it could cause issues around your self-esteem and confidence. However, if Saturn is well placed in Libra, Capricorn, or Aquarius, then the negative effects of Saturn in the second house won't be as severe. Now, if you have Venus in the second house, then this tells me that you have a very charming presence and way of communicating. Money usually comes easily to this person, and the person has had some pleasant childhood experiences with their family while growing up. Venus has great potential to bring people wealth if it is well placed in the second house. Because Venus is the planet of billionaires, sometimes Venus in the second house can indicate a person who enjoys fine dining and fancy foods. Now, if you have Moon in the second house, this tells me that the second house matters of money, finances, and family life will be constantly fluctuating. This is because Moon is a very fast-moving planet and it becomes easily influenced and affected by the house placement and other planetary conjunctions. Moon in the second house will sometimes indicate fluctuating finances, so one has to be careful and cautious with how they manage their money. Their family situation can sometimes be unstable, and one must try to stay grounded and keep their emotions in check. Try to embrace and accept your emotions rather than run away from them. This will give you a much better life in the long run. Now, for those who have Rahu in the second house, people can earn extreme amounts of wealth. However, more often than not, the extreme amount of wealth often comes with a huge price tag. People have to make great sacrifices, such as working long hours or doing unsuitable tasks that do not serve them well in the long run. Because of these unhealthy sacrifices people end up making to obtain this kind of money, Rahu in the second house can also disturb the family life. Rahu is a very obsessive planet. And remember, the second house does deal with our food intake. Therefore, Rahu in the second house can sometimes indicate poor eating habits. And if the second house is badly afflicted, it can translate into addictions with drugs, smoking, and alcohol. Now, for those who have Ketu in the second house, this is a bit of a difficult placement. There could have been some losses or a feeling of disconnection with the family while growing up. The problems faced in early childhood translate into insecurities later in life. Ketu's placement in the birth chart will indicate the type of emptiness a person feels. With Ketu in the second house, a person will feel as if there can never be enough money that'll satisfy them. No matter how much money that does get acquired or earned, there is a feeling of lack. This lack can lead to a sense of emptiness, and it is very important to curb that emptiness because it will affect one's self-esteem and confidence to move forward. Now, if Ketu is conjunct a benefic planet or receives a benefic aspect, then the negative effects of Ketu in the second house does get reduced. Now, if you have Mars in the second house, then you must take control of your speech. Your speech sometimes can be very aggressive and direct, and if you do not communicate your thoughts properly, people can really misunderstand your character. You may end up offending a lot of people and can create opposition around you if you don't take control of your Mars in the second house. Mars represents anger, war and conflict. And in most cases, if you have Mars in the second house, then growing up wasn't really easy. There could have been some really difficult conflicts in your domestic sphere, especially with the parents while growing up. And relationships with your siblings may have also been very difficult with a lot of contention. However, with Mars in the second house, there is a drive and ambition to make money, and you can bring in great amounts of wealth throughout life. But because Mars is a natural malefic, if you're not careful with this money, then the money you have accumulated can easily flow right out of your hands. So it is very important to heal your sense of security and self-esteem so that it does not affect your money situation. Oftentimes, when people feel less than who they are, they end up spending more than what they make. Now, if you have Sun in the second house, then you must be very careful with money. Whichever house Sun is in, it can burn the qualities of that house. This is because Sun is a hot and fiery planet. So you must be careful not to overspend with Sun in the second house, as this will burn a hole through your pocket. There can also be some difficult early childhood experiences which cause some lack of security around family issues and money. Healing these emotional insecurities will better help you get to the root of your financial issues, and as a result, you'll have a much better time dealing with your money situation. If the sun is afflicted, there could be some issues with your eyesight and or teeth. Now, for those of you who don't know, I also consider the outer planets when using Vedic astrology. The outer planets are Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. I know that some Vedic astrologers don't apply the outer planets, but after learning Vedic astrology with my teacher Joni Patri, I have found the outer planets to work wonders. If you have Neptune in the second house, then this could mean that there are some unresolved issues within your family that you are here to heal in this lifetime. Because Neptune represents things you can't see coming, it is very important that you stay grounded with money matters. Try your best to independently manage your own money, as you can be prone to having money slip away if you allow others to manage it. Now, if you have Uranus in the second house, then this tells me that there is a certain level of unpredictability while growing up in your family. Your family life was probably hardly stable, and there was always unexpected events that shook your level of security. Uranus in the second house can mean a very unusual way of making money. This can mean that you make money through metaphysical means and other ways that are not really in the societal norm. Sometimes Uranus in the second house can actually give unexpected financial gains. Now, for those who have Pluto in the second house, this tells me that there were control issues around the family while growing up. You may have had very controlling and overbearing parents that overpowered you, which could have caused a lack of security and self-esteem. There's always this quest of making sure that there's enough money at all times. Because of this thirst and quest, they seem to attract money. However, in order to find the satisfaction through that money, they should use it to empower and help others. And doing so will help heal your own psychological and emotional mind. And as a result, this will give you a greater sense of security, happiness, and self-esteem. So this is what I wanted to cover regarding the second house. I hope you got something out of this. Once again, if you found this video to be useful, please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button. Doing so will tremendously help me with the YouTube logarithm so this video can reach a vast audience. Also, if you are new to my channel and would like to see similar videos like this in the future, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell notification. And lastly, if you would like to know more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer, or if you would like a reading from me, then please check out my website, which is universal-fundamentals.com. Thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day.